to start my presentation. Okay. So at the moment we have 13 people altogether. So now I'm sharing my screen with PPT. So here is our today's topic. This is basically not today's topic. This month's topic is open access. So what is the open access? How this idea came in the research community, in the academic community, those points we will discuss, and how this idea of open access is realized by different means. Those things we will discuss, and what is the future, that I will discuss in the end. So what is open access? Open access is basically there is a society which is related to the open information movement, which we call, that society is known as Open Society Institute. Open Society Institute, and that is based in US. So they have their first convention they called in December 2001. The reason for this convention was that previously, when we were in the mode of having the information in hard copy form, like in journals which are bound in printed journals, and in that era it was very difficult to have these kind of things. But when the internet came into the picture and people started exchanging documents using internet, then the idea came that why can't we give access to whatever we do, whatever research we do to the others. Because when we publish, or many of you will publish your research paper in the journals without any expectations, without any monetary expectation. Because if you remember, I shared that disseminating research is a very important part of research work, and we disseminate without expecting any monetary gains. So those things were published in different journals which were hard bounded, and these journals were kind of subscription mode journals. Means you subscribe, to pay their subscription fee, only then you can get access to those journals. So after and at that time it was genuine too, because there was some cost and some money involved in publishing those things and posting those things, so that those things reach your doorstep and you can read those things. But internet actually it breaks all those boundaries. So a convention by Open Society Institute, which was basically an NGO based in USA, it was called in Budapest in December 2001. Because they believed that the kind of research is done by all the people, all the researchers, humanity has the right on that, so it should be accessible to everybody. So the first convention held in December 2001 in Budapest, and what they concluded in this, what were the findings of these conventions, is I told you there will be a lot of text, because these are the declaration. So they defined what is the meaning of open access. So open access to this literature, we mean its free availability on the public internet. The public internet is a very important term, because previously such things were not available. So now public internet becomes kind of another kind of communication, another way of communication. Now we know social media and all those things. But in 2001 itself, it was realized that whatever we do must be available to all researchers, because at that time internet was actually privilege of some research institutes or some very institutes of importance. So what I want to say is the researchers and all those things, all those people, they have access to those things. So public internet permitting any users read, download, copy, distribute, print, search, or link to the full text of these articles. So this much permission, those actually, if you look at those words from legal point of view, these are very important. So they open access means these kind of permissions, and also using that data for development of some kind of software and some lawful purpose without financial, legal, or technical barriers. Means you don't require any permission from the person or researcher who put the things in the open access. So a financial is something different, because if some pharma company finds something, they develop some drug, and then it's not like some other companies by reading that text start producing them. So that is not legal, of course, but the financial interest should not be there, legal interest should not be there. So what is the point? Academic and research interests say, if somebody is using that information, should be permitted so that other researchers in that field can take that idea or that findings to next level. So, if you read, the only constant on the reproduction and distribution and only role for copyright in this domain should be to give authors control over the integrity of their work. So, what is the meaning of control and integrity? Control and integrity, that whenever you use, you can take print out, you can download, you can copy, and whatever you do. But whenever you use that particular findings or things which are mentioned in that research work, you must cite. You must give citation to the author, because he is the ultimate copyright owner of not only that particular document, but also the ideas and the findings and whatever is reported in that. This is the Budapest, means what they are giving. They are just passing out the new findings to the research community, not beyond that. So legal, financial, and technical product development, all those things are barred. The information is supposed to be shared for academic and research purpose only, so that, for example, if we take another example, China claims that the COVID-19 virus is all DNA coding, whatever they did, they put it on the openly on the in an open access platform. So the others, like in US or in India or any other part of the world, they can further work on this virus to find any further solutions. If they keep that thing with themselves at that time, it may have not been possible for others to look into the medicine or the vaccine or such thing. So but whoever will do that, they will give reference to the database where they put those DNA details of that particular, not DNA, whatever details about that particular virus. So it becomes very common among scientific community because of the initiatives taken by this Open Society Institute, which has this first declaration or first meeting in Budapest, and they started this initiative regarding the open access about the research findings. Now, according to their final, means in legal terms, their declaration has certain bindings, because research is not just an individual's work. Sometimes it is funded by some funding agency, and we don't realize, but in pharmaceutical or in defense sector, the research findings are very secretive. The funding agency, whatever you find, you report them. Generally, in many cases, nothing comes out. Actually, they never report. Generally, they have their findings and they report to their funding agency. But But within that, if there is any window which can which is permitted by the funding agency that okay, it can be reported, they report. So considering those points and those constants, first point in that is in that declaration or in that initiative is the authors and copyright holders grant to all users a free, irrevocable, worldwide, perpetual right of access to a license to copy, use, distribute, transmit, and display the work publicly, and to make and distribute derivative work in any digital medium for any responsible purpose underlined, subject to the proper attribution of authorship, as well as the right to make small numbers of printed copies for their personal use. Because in 2001, beyond 2001, whatever publication is done, it was supposed to be the property of the journal. So even a copy was prohibited at the time. So this was the in Budapest. This was the initiative created that if you quickly share your findings, means you are passing baton to the other people who are doing research in this field. They will quickly, if they are doing the same thing, suppose if I am trying to find something and I found it, some clue, and others are trying to find the same thing, at least if they know that this has been done, at least they will stop doing it. Or if they are having some different approach, they will at least see the way that how they did it. So it actually accelerates the process of developing the knowledge. This was the purpose. And I can tell you, if okay, first we go to the second. So this was the actually Bethesda statement. Sorry, means this first point was actually because of this animation and all those things. The previous was the Budapest initiative, and in April 2003, that was in 2001. In 2003, this meeting was called and it was decided because this open house, open access movement requires some guidelines, some anything requires some kind of policy. So what should be done as to define the open access, and what controls an author should have, what controls an funding agency should have, all those things were discussed. So actually Bethesda was in, if I correctly remember, it is in USA, some Maryland, some hospital was there, and this particular meeting was among the pharmaceutical medical people, which are very sensitive to the research and development outputs. Because based on those outputs, they either make drugs or some procedures or some equipments which are really very expensive in the world. So they also wanted that after this Budapest declaration, they became, they feel, threatened that if people will start sharing this thing and that everything, then our commercial interest will be compromised. So to align that, this meeting was actually held in a medical college with those kind of gatherings which get mostly benefited and make profit from the research. So the point number one was actually from to clarify that there should be no economic or financial interest. Only the results which are shared must be for research and academic purpose. And if you see, the authors and copyright holders grant to all users free, irrevocable, worldwide, perpetual rights of access to license to copy, use, distribute, transmit, and display the work publicly, and make and distribute derivative works. This is very important. What do you mean by what is mean by derivative work? Means from that work, from that information, if you can do further things, and it is only what is required is you give only the citation. So if you are getting this information, they can do to further add more information or apply that information and propose some application of that information, but they cannot technically develop a product out of it, which is prohibited. So those kind of things were covered in the first point, and the second point is a complete version of the work and all supplemental materials, including a copy of the permission as stated above in a suitable standard electronic format, is deposited immediately upon initial publication. Matlab, what they want to say, whatever you open access means, if I publish any research paper, it should be very quickly, immediately. Actually, it should be shared with all research community. This is the it's not like that you shared something and you hide something. So if you start sharing information about your research, you should be prompt in sharing your new finding, and how we share it, we will discuss it later. So supported by an academic institution, scholarly society, government agency, or other well-established organizations. So these are the means. Here we will share this kind of research output and findings on academic institution, through scholarly societies, through government agencies, or other established organizations. And it's not like that any website comes and start finding research work of the people and they start sharing with others. What is the point here is that this sharing should be systematic, it should be streamlined, it should follow certain process so that it can be controlled. So these things are for control purpose, control of information, and that control of information through academic institutions, scholarly societies, government agencies, is to ensure the research or whatever findings are shared in open access domain are trustworthy. So because these agencies have different means to verify that this whatever is shared in the name of open access, like WhatsApp University we call, any kind of things are coming, there is no control. So and people believe, and this kind of rumors are created using that. So just to control that open access is okay, but the things must be, the things must have substance. So that substance can be decided if they are controlled by some means. So these are the means, like that open access channel must be through some academic institution, scholarly society, government agency, or some other established organizations. So this happened. So the first was Budapest, then the next Bethesda statement. It is in April 2003, and immediately after this statement in 2003, another thing came in the October 2003. So things started moving very fast because medical people decided that this thing should be done, but there are other people. There are so many areas of research like humanities, like law, management, and other fields. Then there is immediately another convention is called this Open Society Institute in Berlin in 2003, and these are the declaration, the Berlin Declaration. It is the authors and right holder of such contributions. So you note that point. The authors and the right holders of such contributions Right holders may be the funding agency, right holder, maybe the journal where the research paper is published, they may have certain copyright. To all users, a free, irrevocable, worldwide right of access to and a license to copy, use, distribute, transmit, and display the work publicly, and to make and distribute derivative work in any digital medium for any responsible purpose, subject to proper attributions. Now here because the previous one and here there is not much difference, but if here you observe, now here they're trying to add some words here, subject to proper attribution of authorship. Community standards will continue to provide the mechanism for enforcement of proper attribution and responsible use of the published work as they do now, as well as right to make small numbers of print copies for their personal use. So the only they try to add a point. They try to no, free doesn't means free, means it's not means like you start assuming it's yours. So the person who actually developed, person who is the author of that work, not only author actually, he did that work, must be given the right kind of recognition. So this point is that, and the second, a complete version of the work and all supplemental materials, including a copy of the permission as stated above, in an appropriate standard electronic format is deposited and thus published. These are not my words. These are actually the declaration points, and these are the points which were defined by them, written by these meeting in this meeting. So I can't change a word. So this is as it is. In at least one online repository using suitable technical standards such as the Open Archive definitions, that is supported and maintained by an you see. So in a simple words, what one should do, if you are become part of open access movement, what you should do, whatever research paper is published, whatever new findings are published, they should be shared with the world in a digital form. Open access means digital, is e-version. It is not hard copy. That e-version must be shared worldwide freely. They can make a copy, they can further distribute it. So that is supported and maintained, again for quality control, maintained by an academic institution, scholarly society, government agency, or other well-established organization that seeks to enable open access, unrestricted distribution, interoperability, and long-term archiving. Long-term archiving is another very important word added here. What is the meaning of long-term archiving? Suppose you shared and you just uploaded your research findings in a site, in a website, or in a service, which is today is accessible to all. But for say some reasons, tomorrow that site is now down. It's not there. So, oh, it's so quick. It's saying the time is running, but I will continue. If it runs out, then we will again log in, and I want to finish it today. And it may, as I don't know, maybe boring, but these are the terms we have to understand what they want to say. And I will, at the end, I will simplify that these are the technical terms of those declaration, but what is the gist of it, but we should understand. So, if you look here, long-term archiving means the things you shared or at some website or at some link, that must have some life. It's not like that today it is there and tomorrow it's no, it's not operational, and whatever you shared is just gone. Nobody no, because if the website is down, all the links, all the documents shared with them are disappeared. So long-term archiving is also very important. Long-term archiving is that the links or the materials shared to that particular service must be there for a long time. It should sustain. Ideally, it should sustain forever. Now, after this Berlin Declaration, we call BBB. B is Belfast, and second B, I just can't pronounce that that B, and the third one is Berlin. So BBB, these three B give you an idea about what is open access. So the open access is rooted. Actually, the open access is rooted in existing copyright law, because copyright is kind of, if you look at the conventional subscription type journal. Subscription type means, for example, all the journals which you find that you have to pay if you want to download the article, these are subscription fee based journals. So they have certain copyrights. Means there is a last discussion also, means I also pointed out that there is copyright law and there is a copyright form, and the copyright form is signed between the publisher and the author. And in the copyright form, there are certain conditions and I will discuss that further, that what those conditions may be. So the copyright owner, whoever is the owner, is the publisher or the author, they permit users to freely access. Means if I am a copyright of something, and if I put that in open access, then what I am doing, I am giving all the users who are accessing that particular website that they can freely access, download, copy, and do whatever, but not some financial, legal things with my work. And also give credit to me as a citation. This work was originally belongs to so and so. So copyright owners permit users to freely access their work and grant them additional rights. That additional rights means they can do some derivative, some other work based on your work, and that remove permission barrier. Permission barrier means if they want to use some figure of my research work to in their own some report, they can simply give my citation. They don't require to write a letter to me that Dr. Mukul, I'm writing this paper, I want to use this figure of your research paper, please give me permission. Then I give them okay, I allow. So those kind of things are now prohibited. Means you give free use, they can use it, but they have to give a citation of yours. So open access is real access if the article is universally and freely accessible. The universally and freely accessible is kind of through the internet only, because World Wide Web is everywhere. So if it is there, it is universally and freely, means there should be no subscription fee at no cost to the reader via the internet or otherwise, without कोई उसमें नहीं होना चाहिए, कोई interest financial नहीं होना चाहिए. The author or copyright owner irrevocably grants to any third party in advance and in perpetuity, is continuously to the infinity, हमेशा के लिए, the right to use, copy or disseminate the article. Means if some Y person is having my article, he can simply send the PDF to another person. I mean, that is not the copyright violation from my side. Or disseminating the article provided that correct citation details are given. That's what I was mentioning again and again. The correct citations is very important. The article is deposited immediately. Now again, this is third point, that as soon as you do something, you should immediately deposit to, this is for open access culture, to the in full and in a suitable electronic form in at least one widely and internationally recognized open access repository. Open access repository means it may be government controlled, not controlled, government service means facilitated by government, by institute, by some, should be some it should have some credibility to open access and long term preservation for posterity. So whatever, suppose now you may have heard about Shodh Ganga, the Indian government initiative, all the thesis must be deposited there. So when now you are doing some literature review, even you can go to the Shodh Ganga and you can search by keywords, and you may find many thesis, many research work, Indian research work over there. Oh, that is accessible to all. This is for everybody. But whenever you use that information you find in some thesis, you must give some citation of that. What is the problem? I mean, maybe a culture here is they just find something on the internet and they assume it's mine. They forget to give any kind of citation or credit. So it's not like that. We should give credit people who have done originally that work. So that should be the culture. And this point was also discussed in plagiarism also. So benefits, what are the benefits of open access? It makes it easier to avoid duplication of research effort. That's what I said, that if you quickly share your research on open access platform, the others will very quickly know that what is the current status, and if many people are working on the same problem, it has been done. If I am doing it differently, I will do it differently. So you get some, you can save some energy, some good efforts from others if it is information is shared. Increases the public accountability, because if it is on this platform, open access platform, anybody can see it, anybody can question your findings. If somebody is not happy, he can write you an email that, okay, I'm not happy with these findings and I disagree with this, and it cannot be, it means I don't agree. So it means you are more transparent, you are giving information to a RTI kind of thing. It's there for everybody. So you can see, makes meta-analysis of results possible more easily. Means if your results are there, somebody is having any doubt or some they can also simulate or they can also replicate your results. Defragment science literature, because it is making a seamless, comprehensive searching possible, because everything is there. So if you are doing some interdisciplinary research, you can also find some material very quickly. It speeds up understanding of outstanding scientific questions. Of course, it will happen, because if you are very quickly getting information in your research area of interest, it will be, very, instead of you develop some questions and you just stuck with them, and you imagine that I will make my research questions or I will plan my future research based on it. If you are quickly getting the updates, then you can clearly frame your research problems very, very clearly, closes gaps in the access to knowledge, enabling every researcher to try and see the entire picture. Because we are restricted, we are using sci-hub something to get the right kind.
अब यार दोबारा लगाना पड़ेगा, वो बीच में कट गई ना मीटिंग। हाँ? मसाला है? हाँ। अरे नहीं, दे दे उसको। नहीं, मैं नहीं बेटा, मीठा है ये।
So I'm continuing. Okay. I can see almost 12 people are here. 11. Okay. So closes gaps in the access to knowledge, enabling our research to try and see entire picture. Enables the building of databases and knowledge bases effectively and efficiently, reusing published results. So this is very important from current scenarios. As I mentioned, that today many databases are freely available because there is standard databases, not in, especially in medical sciences, and there is a genome database is available. Anybody can access. So that is a kind of open access of databases, not a research paper, but the open access of the databases. So those things are helping the world community to quickly progress to the next stage. And also it enables the take science out of ivory tower isolation by letting non-scientists in. So this is also there. So even policymakers also can see and go there and can see the developments in the science, and they can also make policies. Simply, if any curious student or a very beginner is there, he can also be part of it. So transparency is always good. So this is what this open access actually give you the benefit, engender and simulate wider understanding of and respect for science. So if you are transparent, and if people find that you are doing it, sometimes not from criticism point of view, many times you get appreciation. So it also establish because many times in India also they say, even government is saying, even many people say that what researchers are doing, what product is coming into the market, what they have found. Sometimes the knowledge itself, which cannot be always a product, but it's a addition to the current understanding of the area. So if you try to convey that, okay, by this research we found these new things, and now world knows this point better than before. So that is also an addition. So instead of because common people or some other people, they see that out from the research only they will find something coming out, and some very fancy thing coming out. If it is not there, if it is not product, it's not true. When Einstein gave his theory of relativity, nothing came out of it. It was a very abstract idea, but afterwards, so many things are depending on it. All the this all space missions and everything depends on those kind of theories. So when we convey the research, and also we write popular articles to explain the importance of that research, then definitely scientific community can get benefited, and they can get more respect. So these are about open access. So to summarize the open access, it is a movement. It started because of the internet, because the document transfers, sharing became possible through the internet. Because internet movement in the research community, although they were using it for simulation of research from 1960s and 1970s, these are very early stages computer, but for communication. computer they were using. But for internet, that internet became possible in 85, 86 in the USA, and in India around 90s it came. And after that, it became popular, and means I am witness because I joined NPL in 95, and first time I was using email, I was in awe at what is an email, how can I write this, and they will immediately get. So those things started at that time. We started sharing information through the internet. Then we realized that instead of sending letters and papers, it is better to share information through internet. So I was part of that. So now it looks quite obvious to all of you, of course, new generation. But when things were such things were not there, then it was really. So in 2001, this Open Society Institute started this initiative. They took the initiative, and then another conference meeting held in 2003, and then finally the Berlin declaration in 2003, and all these three paved the way for the open access of the research to the all world, throughout the world, without any restriction, a seamless access to the community, not only the research community, but to all the humankind. So this was the idea, that what we are doing, we are consuming the public money, government money, and funding agencies' money, and we should share it with them also. We should be more accountable. So this was the purpose. Now, how to realize it? How to realize this open access to such information is, one way is the open access publishers or open access journal. What is the meaning of open access publisher or open access journal, sir? As many times I mentioned before, that there are subscription based journals. Basically, previously there were subscription based journals, and because there was publication cost associated with that, and therefore there were subscription based good journals which are non-profit in nature, but they charge. But there were some commercial angle was also there. Many journals were there for making the money. So there were two kind of subscription based journals. One type of subscription based journals are non-profitable, and one type of subscription based journals were profitable. So both kind of journals were there. So but in open access, there should be no subscription fee. So reader will not pay anything to get that particular research article or information. So this was an idea that if you publish your research work in a journal which doesn't charge any subscription fee from the readers, from authors they may charge some, because they may have some certain expenses, and to cover those expenses they may charge, and generally the authors pay a little bit amount to cover their expenses, and they pay through the money they have here in research grant, because research grant also has one subhead for publication. So from that subhead they can, this is kind of donation you give. Nowadays many actually channels, news channels are there, like the print. Now this Shekhar Gupta started, they are free, but so ask if you to donate them, or they don't. If you don't pay anything, it doesn't mean you can't see them, but they expect you like and you pay, something like that. In open access journals, the authors are expected to pay, but if you are unable to pay, if you don't have any research fund, then generally they waive off the publication fee. So those kind of, but important thing is the inverted commas, the subscription fee for author is zero. So whatever they want to subscribe, they want to read, they can read freely. And another way is self-archiving. Suppose you have many research papers published, and then you make your articles freely available in digital form on internet by archiving them by yourself. So you yourself, whether it is published in a journal which has subscription, but you have that publication, you have copyright of that publication with you, and if the copyright and other things are like that, which permits you to share it, then you can self-archive, and self-archiving has different platforms. which a hint of which was given in those declaration that it should be through the government, it should be through a society, it should be through an institute. So self-archiving should not be, it's kind of, also not controlled, I should not say controlled, it should be kind of channelized, or it should be kind of, तो ठीक से उसकी performance ठीक रहे, and it should be, its life should be good, should be there. So for that purpose, self-archiving also have certain rules, and which I will discuss. Not certain rules, certain strategies, I should say. So these strategies we will discuss. So there are two ways of making the current research available to the public and the peers. Is two ways. One is publishing your research in open access journals, and another way is self-archiving. So I will discuss one by one what are open access publishing, what is the meaning, and what is the meaning of self-archiving, and what are the strategies. So open access journals are actually should have following characteristics. First thing is should be scholarly. Scholarly, what is the meaning of scholarly? Means they should have editorial board which have some good people over there, some experts. It's not like that from here and there some people, there's 4 or 5 people, because on internet it is very easy to create a domain. On internet you name it and you can just simply start your business. So it's not like that. It should be properly done with having some associated, some good people, knowledgeable people who are responsible also. So it should be scholarly. Utilize quality control mechanism like those in conventional journals. For example, peer review process, editorial oversight, copy editing. Means the text and everything, the formatting, everything should be digital. This is the double underline thing. Open access means digital. Digital is a main thing. Because digital has actually no this cost of hard copy and printing. Digital means you create something digitally and share. So digital requires more kind of your intellectual and time investment. Your intellectual thought process and your creativity and time investment. It doesn't require a lot of money, monetary investment. Once you have some software, some desktop software, some software you can write and you can share. So freely available. This is another very important thing for open access. Basic property allows authors to retain the copyrights. So open access doesn't mean that you gave everything. Means you have copyrights, but you allow others that they can use that particular work for the things which I mentioned earlier and which were mentioned in those declaration and policies. And this is very important, that Creative Commons is a license, which is in USA, Creative Commons is not a government license. Creative Commons is a license by an institute in USA, and I don't go into the detail of that. So if you apply for Creative Commons, we don't apply, we don't require actually. So I'm not, but in US, their copyright and all those things, the legal things are more, too much. So they have certain kind of ways of doing it. So Creative Commons license is there. So they used to get it, and it is not a government license. It is one of the institute of an independent institute who gives that license. So, and all those open access journals, means I send you a video also, directory of open access journals, which is published by Lund University libraries, provided it is more than 2,000 digital, which are classified as open access journals. And it is very important, to consult the directory of open access, because all these 6 points, the journals which follow those 6 points are registered as open access journals. Other than that, out of that, if a journal claims to be open access journals, that journal is not an open access journal. So be careful. If you want to publish in an open access journal, please check the name of that journal, that whether that journal is in the directory of open access journal or not. This is very important. Um, because it is Directorate of Open Access Journal. This was a project given to that university by Open Society Institute. So, and they make it sure that that particular journal fulfills all the conditions which are fine for an open access journal. So now, what are the categories? The last time there was a question that born open access publishers. So the last time I was trying to say, but I think my words, there were clarity in my words was not clear. So we should understand three things. One thing is that in 2001, when this open access movement started, before 2001, many journals, thousands and thousands of journals were there, which were conventional subscription-based journals. These were there in the market, and we used to publish the research in those journals, and these are the means of disseminating our research findings among the research community. And only research community reads those journals. Common people, public, ever interested in those journals. Okay. So after that declaration, many journals were started. Many journals were started after the Berlin Declaration, just for the purpose to achieve the open access, liberty, that freedom, that freedom of open access, that these journals will especially sole purpose to publish, that in those journals, if you publish, that will be for all. So this was the first time happened in the history that some journals are started, and these all are online journals. Of course, they have digital publication, and the sole purpose was to fulfill the declaration, BBB declaration. Okay, so because of the open access movement, so they are now born open access publishers. So these digital, commercial or non-profit publishers were established after Berlin Declaration for the sole purpose of publishing open access journals, and they typically utilize this is the license which I was talking about. So this is born open access publishers. Now the second is conventional publishers. Many conventional publishers like Springer, Wiley, Elsevier, they also basically they publish journals which are mainly based on the society. The society is the American Physical Society, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. So these societies actually, they used to publish many journals, but these journals are non-profit journals. But because of the printing cost, they used to have some subscription fees. Still today they have a lot of subscription fee. They may have some expenditures, but they also started giving option to the authors that if they want, they can choose the open access option for publication. What is the open access option? Means if your article is published, it will be in open access mode. So your article, if somebody wants to access it, they can access it without any fee or without any charge. So these are the options nowadays. More and more journals, publication houses are giving to the authors. So what is the meaning? There is a transformation of conventional publishers into open access. So this is the second time of thing journals which are open access. And third is non-traditional publishers. So if you remember, conventional publishers are those generally which are journals which are actually published by the societies, but there are some non-traditional publishers. Even before this open access movement came into the picture, actually in 1980s and early 1990s, many universities, they formed groups and they started that, okay, this is the forum. They haven't named that forum like fancy journal name or something, But they started that, okay, if you want to publish your research finding, you can publish at this platform. And in 1980s, and if you remember the 2001, we have this open access movement. So even from that time, due to the internet, many universities and institutes started this online publication thing. So these are non-traditional. These were because so now I think we can differentiate between born open access and conventional and non-traditional.
But
Born
सर सॉरी सर टू इंटरप्ट यू बट उस टाइम पे तो इंटरनेट होता ही नहीं था ना. आप कह रहे हैं नॉन ट्रेडिशनल में यूनिवर्सिटी सारी टुगेदर साथ में आके उन्होंने एक मूवमेंट स्टार्ट किया एंड उन्होंने ओपन एक्सेस किया. बट उस टाइम
1980s में there was access to the internet to some universities.
अच्छा था.
There was access to the university. There was access to the these were very privileged universities. These were not like है ना. So at that time, because this non-traditional publishing started due to the internet, okay, and internet was there in 1980s and early 1990s. It was there, not in India, but it was there in developed countries. So conventional journals were from 1900s. 1920 also journals were published. They were conventional journals. No internet, nothing. They were hardbound journals. And even the research paper typed on the typewriters, those kind of
conventional mein. Wow.
Conventional, okay. Conventional are the very ancient kind of thing. Conventional means very ancient. Now, only the hard copy thing was possible in conventional. So these were the conventional. Now the internet kind of things came into the picture. This word, star, and all those typing, not typing. From typewriter, it shifted to the computer. Typing from typewriter shifted to the computer. So what computer does? Computer creates a digital file of whatever document you prepare. Today you are preparing Word. At that time there were different software, very basic software. They were preparing those documents on those software. Word, star, and all those softwares were there. Very primitive softwares, but it was there. Some very premium universities were connected to the internet, so they started sharing their research findings on those research papers through the internet, because digital format of the before computer there was no digital format at all. Computer is based on digital 0 1. That format was not available before computer. Before analog or this paper format or hard copy format was available. Take my point. With the advent of computer, digital format became available. Now internet connectivity was between some premium institutions. They started, suppose there was group of some nuclear physicists in Europe. 4 or 5 very big nuclear physics group are there. They all are having access of internet, and they created a forum that recent advances in nuclear physics. Then whatever group does any research, they share their paper on that forum. So that is also kind of publishing. That's what I'm saying. They were not having very fancy name of any journal or anything, but they're sharing their research findings on a forum. So sharing means disseminating. Dissemination is the purpose of publication. So it is also kind of publication, non-traditional, because रिव्यू प्रोसेस नहीं था, उसमें कोई जर्नल का नाम नहीं था. So this is the kind of sharing the information. Okay, so but this is a publishing because they are sharing, they are disseminating. So this is a non-traditional. It is not structured. This is non-traditional publishing. Conventional it is ancient, but after this 2001. After 2001, this conventional people, publishers also started thinking about open access. So these conventional, now conventional are still half conventional, half open access. So they also started giving option to the authors that okay, means you can by giving an option of open access means they give author an option that your paper will be freely available to all the people. That's the open. If you choose that option, your article will be available to all. If you don't choose that option, your article will be accessed only after paying the subscription fee to the others. Others can access your article after paying subscription fee to them. So ये conventional
एंड सर ये सब्सक्रिप्शन फी लेने का पर्पस सिर्फ यही था कि कन्वेंशनल में प्रिंटिंग कॉस्ट इन्वॉल्व थी, क्योंकि आपने मेंशन किया ना कि वो लाइक अमेरिकन जर्नल
प्रिंटिंग कॉस्ट इन्वॉल्व थी, वो तो नॉन प्रॉफिट जर्नल के लिए हम बोल सकते हैं, बट देयर आर कॉमर्शियल जर्नल दे आल्सो, है ना, दोनों बातें। तो सोसाइटी जनरली नॉन प्रॉफिट होती है, लेकिन कुछ कॉमर्शियल पब्लिकेशंस भी थे, है ना, तो दे सो इट्स बोथ, नॉट कि केवल उनको केवल पब्लिकेशन चार्जेस उसके कवर करने थे, दे आल्सो मेक मनी स्टिल टुडे। पीपल नाउ दिस इज अ बिग इंडस्ट्री एक्चुअली, पीपल आर मेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ मनी बाय दिस पब्लिकेशन। तो कन्वेंशनल का मतलब यह है कि कन्वेंशनल का मतलब आप सिंपल समझो कि सब्सक्रिप्शन फी होनी चाहिए, वो कन्वेंशनल है, ठीक है ना। और सब्सक्रिप्शन फी होनी चाहिए, उसके नीचे आप उसको दो पार्ट में कर लो, एक पार्ट है नॉन प्रॉफिट, एक है कॉमर्शियल। तो सब्सक्रिप्शन फी ले रहे हैं वो नॉन प्रॉफिट वाले भी ले रहे हैं और कॉमर्शियल भी ले रहे हैं, ठीक है ना। तो अब जो नॉन प्रॉफिट वाले हैं जनरली वही अब क्या हो रहे हैं, दे आर नाउ थिंकिंग अबाउट कमिंग टुवर्ड्स ओपन एक्सेस। कॉमर्शियल वाले तो कभी नहीं आए, because their purpose is to make money, they will never waive off the subscription fee. Getting my point? So non-traditional are different. Non-traditional thing happened naturally due to the advent of the internet, because people realized, अभी आपको पता नहीं है, जब मैंने पहला पेपर मेरा पब्लिश हुआ था इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फिजिक्स यूके में, दिस वाज माय फर्स्ट पेपर आई पब्लिश इन 1997 or 98, then I have to send 10 पहली बात तो ये है कि you have to take a print out, फॉर्मेट नहीं होता, you have to take print out of your research paper, single side page, two line spacing। तो अगर प्रिंटिंग के बाद वो पेपर 4 पेज का है तो डबल लाइन स्पेसिंग के साथ फॉन्ट 12 रख के उसको फिगर का एक पेज अलग करके एक 4 पेज का पेपर जो है वो आराम से, इट वाज अराउंड 25-30 पेजेस, एंड यू हैव टू सेंड 10 कॉपीज ऑफ हार्ड कॉपीज ऑफ दैट पेपर टू द एडिटर। आई वाज अ स्टूडेंट एट दैट टाइम, आई वाज नॉट हैविंग मच मनी, सो आई वाज।
एंड सर व्हाट वाज द कॉस्ट उस टाइम पे? प्रिंटिंग का कॉस्ट क्या होता था?
प्रिंटिंग तो फ्री थी, प्रिंटिंग तो हमारे हम नेशनल फिजिकल लेबोरेटरी में थे, हम आई हैड प्रिंटर एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, बट
तब क्या सर 10 के 15 कॉपी थे?
400 पेजेस आई सेंड टू यूके बाय पोस्ट बाय माय ओन मनी। सो दैट वाज द एरा, वो एक टाइम था। तो इस तरीके से चीजें होती थी। अब तो ये है कि इंटरनेट।
व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन, लाइक पीएचडी थीसिस वाज लाइक इजीली गेट अप्रूव्ड पहले या अब, मतलब व्हाट इज द ट्रांजिशन ऑफ दिस थीसिस फेज?
अब इसके बारे में बाद में बात करते हैं, अभी थोड़ा इसको खत्म कर लेते हैं, देन वी विल हैव डिस्कशन, बिकॉज़ फिर नहीं पढ़ाया जाएगा फिर। तो नाउ मे 2-3 साइड्स लेफ्ट, देन वी विल हैव वेरी ओपन डिस्कशन। हां, तो मेरे ख्याल में यहाँ पर किसी को प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए। अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम हो, देन आफ्टर डिस्कशन वी कैन, आई थिंक इट इज वेरी सिंपल एंड वेरी क्लियर। बॉर्न ओपन एक्सेस आफ्टर 2001, कन्वेंशनल बहुत पहले से चल रहे थे, नाउ दे रास्ता उन्होंने देखा, दे आर चेंजिंग एंड दे आर गोइंग फॉर दिस ओपन एक्सेस मोड। नॉन ट्रेडिशनल वर्क फ्रॉम द वेरी देवर रिबेलियंस, उन्होंने कहा नहीं, वी आर ऑन इंटरनेट, वी हैव डिजिटल कॉपीज, वी कैन शेयर। What is the need of journals, conventional journals? They charge money, we don't go. So they started it naturally. Maybe all those conventions which took place in 2001, because of the non-traditional publishers' efforts, they saw the benefits of Open Access Society, saw this Open Society Institute saw the benefits of non-traditional publication by these people. Then they took this initiative. So all these things are interrelated. So now we go to the another point, which is self-archiving. So what is the self-archiving? Is authors make their articles freely available in digital form on the internet. Means it is not by journal, it's by yourself. They are said to be self-archiving. And again, it's American time खत्म हो जाएगा. Their research publication, these articles can be either preprints or postprints. ठीक है, दो तरीके के प्रिंट्स होते हैं, प्रीप्रिंट्स एंड पोस्ट प्रिंट्स. आई विल उसको भी मैं क्लियर कर दूंगा. प्रीप्रिंट्स क्या है? ड्राफ्ट वर्जन of article that have not undergone peer review or editorial review and modification. Means आपने कुछ पेपर, you drafted some paper and immediately what आप क्या करें उसको, कहीं पे अपनी वेबसाइट हो या कुछ, मतलब अभी आगे बात करेंगे कहाँ पे, you upload it for everybody. So that basically preprint is the version of the paper which actually you communicate to the journal. Preprint, what is preprint? Preprint is the first draft which you communicate to the journal for the sake of publication. Getting my point? And as soon as you drafted and you communicated that paper to the journal, parallelly what you have done, you also shared that paper on some internet platform, some online platform, so that others can still see. You are very confident researcher. You know that you did the very good work and you are very confident, and you just shared it so others can see. You can't wait that they go through the review and do this and that, and it will take time. So I immediately share everything. And in the last discussion I discussed that the dates are very important. That when you reported finding, the credit goes, that if you report first, this is the only way in science you can claim that this is the first. This thing is reported by you. So this preprint is the draft which actually has not gone any peer review or any editorial review. The draft prepared by the authors for the sake of publications, they communicate to the editors. In parallel, somewhere or others. The postprint is the final published version. This preprint is totally your efforts, the efforts of authors. But postprint is now review has been done. Now comments are shared to the author. They made the due corrections and updated, and now the publisher also actually created the exact format, which is format of the journal. So it's a kind of things which is ready for publishing. So postprint is the final published version of an article. They can either be publisher's version of the article or an updated preprint. Updated preprint का मतलब यही हुआ कि आप लोग क्या करते हैं, कमेंट्स आते हैं, आप उसको ठीक करते हैं. That is updated preprint. So there is a difference. Preprint means it's totally your control, your things. But postprint means now peer review has been facilitated by journal and everything. So now they also have some say into it. They have some right into it. So in the case of preprint, you have full authority. You can do anything. But in the case of postprint, if you want to do self-archiving, now copyright decides. The digital postprint available because either if they have retained copyright, if you sign the copyright with the publishing house, if you retain your copyright and only grant certain non-exclusive rights to publisher, then you have full right, complete right to whatever you want. But you should have copyright. You must know it. If you don't have copyright and you in open access, if you share it, then it's a legal problem. Okay. And another way is you transferred copyrights, but the publishing house has certain rules. They have certain policies that you can distribute preprints or postprints. So there are terms and conditions. So it depends that what kind of copyright agreement you sign. Generally nowadays most of the journals allow this kind of authors को permission देते हैं कि वो अपने preprints को distribute कर सकते हैं, postprint को नहीं कर सकते. Postprint is the property of the journal. अगर आपने copyright पूरा journal को transfer कर दिया है तो रिमेम्बर, अगर कॉपीराइट रिटेन किया है ऑथर ने, देन वो सेल्फ आर्काइविंग में कहीं पे भी कुछ भी कर सकता है ना। नाउ कहाँ पे सेल्फ आर्काइविंग हो सकती है? ऑथर्स पर्सनल वेबसाइट। अब इसकी जो है ऑथर्स पर्सनल वेबसाइट से मेरा मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं कोई वेबसाइट बना के, author's personal website means if I am working in SRMU, my personal website means that is a link with the university's website. So suppose if I change my job, if I move from somewhere, suppose I moved from many universities, 2-3 universities, and I came here, my affiliation was there, my page was there, but those pages now become redundant because I changed. The university also, they remove it, personal web pages. So personal web pages are never very safe. If their longevity is not very, so that the paper and that particular material, whatever you shared, is forever. हमारा archiving का मतलब क्या? Archiving का purpose क्या है कि the thing must be there forever. So disciplinary archives होते हैं. Disciplinary archives means in some fields they created different kind of archives. Some websites are there. These are slightly more, reliable, and longevity is there because these disciplinary websites are sometimes also controlled by some societies. So I also shared my many papers in previously on ARXIV.org, which is a major disciplinary archive for computer science and mathematics. So physics and quantitative biology. In ARXIV, if you go, you can find the different portals for these different streams. So different disciplines have different archives. So these archives are maintained for very, very long time, and whatever you share or you upload over there, it remains there. So this is the good thing. Irrespective to the institute, irrespective to the your affiliations or you change job, it will be there. Because these particular archives are related to certain discipline, and those disciplinary research material or those things, documentations are maintained. And in institutional unit archives, for example, it is very related to the kind of personal websites. If you think, for example, I am working in Ram Swarup Memorial University, and I am a professor in the faculty of electronics and electronics engineering. So on the university website, there is a portal which is having the department portal, department or faculty of electronics and communication engineering. Even if I leave the university, that portal will be there. The institute's portal will be there. So if that particular research paper which I published when I was here, if that is there and it was linked over there, it will be there. Even if I am there or if I am not there, it will be there. So till the university is there and they are maintaining the archives, the whatever research I did will be available as an in open access form to everyone. So generally, if you again link back with personal, so personal pages are deleted once person leave the university, but institutional, because suppose if some courses are actually उन्हीं को बंद करते हैं, मान लो कि कल को लगे कि सब कंप्यूटर साइंस में इंजीनियरिंग करना चाहते हैं, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की फील्ड बेकार है, इसको बंद कर दो, then again those things actually you lose. If that institutional web page is closed, then those things are also not there. So finally, repositories, non-institutional repositories. Institutional repositories are again important. I should say not only institutional. For example, अभी हमने बताया था आप लोगों को कि जैसे शोध गंगा है यूजीसी का, अपना ये इन्फ्लिपनेट का, और ये आपका एक शोध गंगा है और एक क्या है वो गंगोत्री है, तो उसमें सिनॉप्सिस वगैरह का है. रिपोजिटरी का मतलब क्या होता है कि रिपोजिटरी डजंट मीन ओनली द रिसर्च पेपर्स. रिपोजिटरी मीन्स थीसिस भी होगा, रिसर्च पेपर भी होगा, इवन प्रेजेंटेशंस होते हैं, इवन लेक्चर्स होते हैं, इवन दिस पीपीटी इफ आई रिकॉर्ड इट एंड आई गिव देम, दे विल हैव रिपोजिटरी. So they're in all the libraries all over the world, and now the initiatives also started in India that they have to have some content development and content sharing of